Hello everyone, and welcome to my first vlog post of the semester regarding our first topical assignment so far for this class. I'm gonna pretty much just take things procedurally down the list here, starting with discussing the current status of online learning. Um, I do not really know how Bradley's online learning curriculum compares with its on-campus learning curriculum. I've only experienced Bradley online in the fashion that I do with the rest of you. Um, but as far as I can tell, it's excellent. It's top tier. My master's degree was entirely online as well, and that's kind of what I'm comparing it to. And really, Bradley just feels like what would happen if each of my criticisms of my previous degree were listened to and corrected, not just effectively but extremely well. I can only judge based on my own experience, but my experience so far with Bradley's online curriculum has been solid. Um, Secondly, we need to compare and contrast the five major factors um, in in the book. Um, Miller, that's the author's name, Miller. I have everything written down kind of in front of me, and that's what I'm working off of here. The five major forces that Miller states, compare and contrast those. So I've got my notes in front of me to do exactly that. Um, First, I'm just going to list them off because it kind of makes sense, right? In order of how they're listed in the chapter. First, economics. Second, student demand. Third, an increased focus on measurable evidence of learning and student success. Fourth, availability of new technologies. Fifth, curiosity and the drive to innovate. And those are the five. So to start with kind of how they all relate to each other, the overlap that they have. Economics is like the broadest factor. All of them kind of fit inside of it in some way, especially, the second factor, which is student demand, which I would argue is just a subcategory of economics anyway. Demand is one of the key tenets of economics. Everybody's heard of supply and demand from a macroeconomic standpoint. Um, so really, I'm just going to kind of treat student demand as demand in this discussion. So that demand is driven in the modern era by the supply, which in this case is an education boosted by the availability of new technologies. Point number four. Those technologies come from curious and innovative students and former students who are in the tech industry. Myself kind of included, but I don't actually develop new technology at this point. I just kind of use educational technology to make the environment a little bit better. Um, the driving force behind, these capable students are actually the focus that we have on measurable evidence of learning and student success. If we weren't focused so much on that, we wouldn't develop the students that develop the new technology that make more students want to go to school. So yeah, it all kind of ties together, which one might say is probably the point. That's not to say all of these things are the same. Obviously, we wouldn't have five different ones if they were all the same thing. So first, the difference between economics and student demand. Obviously, economics is a much broader category. And as I said before, I consider student demand to be kind of a part of that. But obviously, one is kind of a economics category, and the other is the actual category, or not. The other one is the actual study of economics. The new technology that's being developed, that's the tools that allow kind of the engine to run. The technologies are developed outside of the educational landscape, but those new bits of technology that get developed are used as tools within technology. And obviously, tools are not the same as macroeconomics concepts. So I'd say that's a pretty big difference right there. Um, the people, that have the curiosity and drive to innovate, utilize those tools and work within the constraints of demand and economics and everything. But ultimately, the curiosity and drive to innovate comes as a motivation of the people who actually develop all those new technologies. And of course, the increased focus on measurable evidence of learning and student success is kind of the way education goes. So everything else kind of surrounds that. That's the linchpin, if you will, that motivates the entire process. Not just any individual, not just the macro, but it ties it all together. So it kind of acts as its own sort of magnetic concept to bring everything together. But at the same time, that's what differentiates it from everything else. Um, so that's kind of how I compared and contrasted each of the 5 categories as succinctly and completely as I could. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time.